Okay, so it's been about 2 weeks since I put the suspension on. There's the old stuff, boxes from the new stuff, and the new stuff. So, what brand are these? These are Clineo? I don't know, some kind of shocks. They were $50 for both of them with Prime shipping. So I said, go for it. We'll try it. Since then, last Monday, I got some chunkies on here now. I don't know what it's from. Anyway, last Monday, I officially rolled my fender with a real fender roller. So that's good. This side turned out really good. I got a little bit of stretch action, and then it's nice and rounded. I took a lot longer on that side than this side, and unfortunately on this side it's still stretched and everything, but I made it kind of sharp, and so it's been digging into kind of the side of my tire on hard bumps, because my struts the blown ones weren't good enough to be able to deal with bumps. So I'm hoping these ones are sufficient to be able to deal with to actually dampen bumps. But we'll see, I guess. It looks like I was bottoming out, because that was not that color before. So it looks like those struts were bottoming out because of the different spring rate on these coils. So good thing I kept that there, because I probably would have cut through my tires otherwise. So keep your bump stops. In some instances where I've lowered a ton, I've just kind of cut the bump stop, but keep some of it there. It's there for a reason. Anyway, since it's been 2 weeks, I went ahead, I think this is on the second tank of gas, or third tank of gas, since I've lowered it, and so I went ahead and brought my torque wrench out and retorqued the spacers so they're seated properly and everything. The next thing on my list for this, well, the next thing is my sway bar. So I have a new sway bar coming in the mail tomorrow, a big fat one. So I'm excited about that. Besides that, though, the next thing I'm really wanting to do is my bushings. So my bushings are horrific, and it creaks like crazy. It just creaks and creaks and creaks whenever the suspension moves. And I'm pretty sure it's these ones up here. So I'm looking into, I might just buy a whole new upper control arm, because then it'll come with both bushings, and I think I can get one for about $60, and each one of these bushings is about $20, and so might be worth it. I also want to replace this bushing because it is yammered, and then those bushings up there on the other sides of the lower control arms, and then this one in here. The main one I'm worried about is this here, though, because it's like rusty and leaking, like leaky water, you know, when something's wet or something's rusty and it gets wet and it kind of leaks rusty water. That's what both of these bushings are doing, and so I'm gonna find some spray lube and spray those up right now. Hopefully that'll help it not creak as much for now, but tires are going back on, and then I'll take it for a drive and see if I am bottoming out on my fenders still. If I am, I might have to cut them a little bit. But again, I'm hoping my sway bar, well, I know my sway bar will also help deal with body roll, so I won't rub as much. But we'll see. My other option is, if this doesn't do anything, what I could do is use the Legacy struts with the Outback springs. And so I'd have a really high spring rate and a lower dampening force. It would make the back end really stiff. You can debate on whether or not that's a good or bad thing. That's what I did on my first Forester, my 99 Forester. I just used Impreza struts, but I had a saggy butt, and a big saggy butt, and so I used my Forester springs with the Impreza struts in the rear. And then Impreza stuff up front. And that, it rode like a tank, and I didn't have a rear sway bar. It had a rear sway bar, but I didn't put a thick one on. And it was a tank, so stiff spring rates in the rear, and it wasn't noticeable. I mean, it wasn't like coilovers or anything. So anyway, enough rambling on that. Putting those on, driving it. Okay, so with it down on the ground, hasn't settled yet, but it looks freaking ridiculous. But it settles, so not to worry. It really is awesome doing this in -90-degree weather with 75% humidity. It's great. Love it. I love getting soaked working on cars. It is, I mean, you do what you can. I would rather get soaked working on cars than not work on cars, so. Can you hear it squealing? So one of my front ones is clunking. But again, that's body roll, so I'm not too worried about that. I'm more looking for bumps, high-speed bumps. Let's go find some high-speed bumps. Can you hear it creaking? It's ridiculous how much it creaks. There's a bump and no ka-clunk. That would have been a rub with the other struts, so still rubs on really big bumps, but better, I guess, is the consensus. But squeaky as. And clunky in the front. I'm kind of curious as to what that is. Maybe I didn't tighten the strut nuts enough? Oh my gosh, it's squeakier than leaf spring.